Well, kia ora and welcome to the Harness Half Hour, of course proudly brought to you by Airpark Canterbury and HRNZ Marketing. I'm Jess Smith, and this week on the show we interview Ivan Berhnes, manager of the Alabar Racing Syndicate, who had success with Chase Auckland in last Friday's New Brighton Cup. North Otago trainer Ian Munro is one of our most remotely based trainers and tasted success for the first time in 9 years on Sunday at Ashburton with his charge standout. And David Heffernan of the Oamaru Harness Racing Club joins us ahead of this Sunday's Hannon Memorial meeting. But first, here are this week's Harness Half Hour headlines. Congratulations must go to Brent Mangos, who last Friday collected his 1500th winner in New Zealand. Brent recorded the win when driving Vespa to success for trainer Tim Vince. Chase Auckland returned to winning form at the perfect time when he held off the late charge of Spankham to win the New Brighton Cup. In winning, Chase Auckland booked his way into the New Zealand Cup for his large group of owners. The Ordeal Trotting Cup went the way of Sunday Sun in another dominant display by the trotter. He is now unbeaten in his 2 starts this season and has won 14 of 37 career starts overall. And finally, the Otago Harness Racing Awards were held at Forbury Park on Saturday night, with the major award of the evening, Horse of the Year, going to Majestic Man. Well, of course, the New Zealand Cup campaign's well and truly underway for many of the nominations for the Great Race this year. And the most recent qualifying event for the Cup was the New Brighton Cup, and it went the way of Chase Auckland. And joining me is Syndicate Manager for Alabar and Ivan Berhnes. Ivan, congratulations. And what kind of emotions went through you and the team when he was successful on Friday?
Well, it was pretty amazing, really, Jess, because we've been waiting for a while to get him back to full health and full fitness. So we were sort of sitting there as a large group in the stand, which you no doubt heard later on, and everyone had their fingers and legs crossed, just hoping he would do everything right, which he did initially. He went away really well, and Tim, driving, was thrilled with the way he took off, and then he relaxed nicely in front. So with a lap to go, quite a few of us said, I think he might do this. He just looked so relaxed and enjoying what he was doing, and when they stacked up and he did his last half in about 54 or whatever, I thought, gee, something left to be pretty good to catch him. And yeah, sure enough, Spankham came close. So it was just a relief and a fantastic joy for everyone just to see him back winning and in full health. It was just great, yeah.
Oh, exactly. And there must have been a lot of work going on behind the scenes with the team over the months to get him back into winning form. Were Mark and Natalie just as relieved?
Oh, yeah, they were thrilled. They were tickle pink afterwards. Yes, because I mean, they got so many top horses, but I know I was talking to Mark a couple of months ago, and he just said, well, this will be the makings of him. He's finally got a decent prep, uninterrupted, and he seems to have filled out and matured more, and he's still a bit of a brat out in the paddock with Spankham, but in the stabling area, he's more, grown up, if you like, and knows what it's all about. So that was the key, because last year was just that interrupted preparation after his serious muscle injury in the rear end there, which affected him in lots of ways, and so it's all go now. So fingers crossed he can reproduce it in the races ahead. Yeah.
And of course he's already had feature success on New Zealand Cup Day, and we saw those amazing scenes with the connections following his big win. But what would it mean to you and the team there, the big syndicate? Well, now he's qualified for the Cup. What does it mean to know that you can all start picking out the suits and ties and dresses for the day? Are they all amped about it, Ivan?
Oh, yes, amazing. I mean, the scenes staffed was just out of this world. You thought they'd already won the New Zealand Cup. They were just so excited. And people were posing with the great big cup we've got for winning the New Brighton Cup. And no, it's just something you can't replicate easily. It's just sheer joy, and they're all excited about just being in the Cup. We've got people, of course, from Australia coming over, already booked their flights, and they're going to be here, and we've got people from Auckland that couldn't come down for Friday night. They're definitely coming. So yeah, it's like a celebration. They actually have a horse in the Cup. It's like being in the Miracle Mile last year. It happened that quickly. People just sort of couldn't get their head around the fact we're in the Miracle Mile, and it's so difficult to actually get a horse winning a race, let alone get into top races like that. It's something to appreciate, and they certainly are.
Yeah, definitely. And around the 2 mile event, Ivan, is there any concerns from the connections about him seeing out the distance for the race?
No. One of the staff just said, gee, he can really stay. He looks like a speed horse when he gets out in front, but I mean, when he won the Derby and things, some of the races when he came from the back, went right around the field and then got into the lead and just carried on all the way up the straight. I mean, he showed he could stay. He can still sprint well, so I mean, if he could get a trial, I'd just like to see what would happen there as well. But no, I've got no worries about him staying, so
yeah.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And to have Auckland Reactor, of course, as the sire of Chase Auckland, it just gives a nod again to some of the great performances we've had by colonial bred stallions lately around the world and in New Zealand.
Oh, exactly, yeah. I mean, he's standing in Australia this year because some of the New Zealand project didn't measure up as early 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds, so it's just more of a time thing, and now they're starting to hit their straps as more mature horses. I mean, he actually won the new Brighton Cup. I was looking at the labels on it after the race, so it's quite nice to have his son winning. No, it's quite significant for Colonials to have a stallion like that in amongst the Better Delights and the Art Majors, who logically are in most of the top races, and to actually beat them is quite significant. So, yeah, we're chuffed about that. And just hope. I mean, we've invested a lot in De Vincent and Ultimate Machete, Colonial Stallions, and we just hope we get enough support that they can just prove that they can measure up with the other ones. So, yeah.
Oh, exactly.
For the breeding industry.
Yeah, I think the tides are certainly turning when you look at the like of You May Collect and, of course, the feats that he's doing now. Then people maybe might start taking them a bit more seriously. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, a lot of it's based around the yearling sales, and you do struggle matching the likes of Better Delight and Art Major commercially, but for those wanting racehorses later on, and it's starting to show up, isn't it, that these colonial stallions can leave horses that will race in cups and so on, so that's important. And it wouldn't be fantastic. You May Collect. It's going to be a great race next Sunday at Oamaru, isn't it, with Chase lining up against him and Spank him and all the other good ones. So, it's a nice mix of stallions.
Well, I just hope that Oamaru have made a backup plan for what's going to happen if Chase wins the Hannon Memorial, because I don't know if their president's room will fit all of you in there.
Well, like on Friday night, they had to go to the Terror to Love Lounge to fit us all in, because we had over 30 syndicate members plus probably 10 to 15 sponsors.
Oh, wow.
So it was a real great setup there, and Brent Smith from the club, who's a member of our syndicate, arranged that, and it was just a great idea, because we wouldn't have fitted into the winner's room, the Brecon room. It was too many of us, and it was just great,
No,
they appreciated.
They do a great job, of course, between your syndicate and the Witches now. They're well versed with dealing with large groups, so good on Addington for doing that. And
it's important.
Just finally, Ivan, of course, when people see large syndicates getting involved and winning, whether it's a big race or not, I guess this is the perfect advertisement for ownership in large groups as well, isn't it?
Oh, yes. We got people here who, like Peter Bacon, who's in our syndicate. He's got shares in probably 30 horses. And to see his joy on Friday night, it happened to be his birthday as well.
Yes, it was.
Where he had AG's White Sox and chasing the same race, and he won the first race with the horse with Berhnes. And then he's got a lot of friends come along, and there's another group had relations coming along just to join in with us. And it just suddenly expands from, say, 30 to 40 to 50, and suddenly you've got all these people sharing the joy. And occasionally we do have a share coming up. For example, through ill health or something just could happen, and then there's so many people wanting to reinvest or get someone else to join in, and it's just well worth it. It's brilliant idea.
Yep, exactly. If you've ever thought about it, get in touch with us here at HRNZ. We'll try. We can't promise group success like Chase has done, but we'll certainly try and put you in a situation where you're going to have fun, because I guess the money's nice and getting into the big races is great, isn't it, Ivan? But it's more about those relationships with the people that you're enjoying it with.
Oh, exactly. We've got people now who are lifelong friends from North Island versus South Island. They come together as real close friends, and they're staying at each other's places. And we really look forward to getting together on Friday night. We hadn't been together for a while, and it was a lovely reunion. And to win, it just topped the whole evening off. It was brilliant.
Perfect. Well, off to Oamaru on Sunday, so I wish you and the team all the best, and congratulations again. It was just so heartwarming to see those scenes after the race.
Thanks very much, Jess. Okay, thank you.
And social media news now from around the world, starting off with New Zealand. Don't forget the Harness Racing New Zealand Facebook page also has feature race aftermath, so you can check out those from last week on the Facebook page. And also there are regular interviews leading into domestic race meetings, so check them out if you haven't already on the HRNZ Facebook page. Just a note too about our website, you can now opt to expand or compact form or results on your cell phone by hitting the compact or expand option above race 1 on the fields or results page when using your tablet or mobile device. So a big thanks to the IT team here for working that one out. From Australia, after 20 months away from the racetrack, Luminaire returned to winning form last week at Terang. For more, check out Adam Hamilton's Aussie News on the HRNZ website, or you can follow Adam on Twitter. And from the USA, Foiled Again continues his life after retirement. He and Hall of Fame driver John Campbell, who also recently retired, made a rare public appearance together over the weekend. For more, follow Heather Vitale on Facebook, and great news too, Heather will be back in New Zealand this year. She's down for the Kaikoura meeting on the 3rd and 4th of November. One of the feel-good stories from the weekend, of course the Methven meeting that was moved to Ashburton, was the win of Standout, who's trained by Ian Munro's, of course based in Oamaru, probably one of the most remotely based trainers in New Zealand. But Ian, first and foremost, congratulations. I understand you celebrated in style after the win.
Yeah, well, you got to celebrate the wins because you don't get many of them, do you? So.
Yeah, and I guess the last one was in 2010, but you'd scaled back on numbers quite a bit, hadn't you?
Yeah, we have. We're only working 2 now at the moment, and yeah, we're sort of getting a bit older, and it's getting a bit, sort of costs are going up and up all the time, and there's 60 miles to the nearest trials, so
yeah,
we were still remote where we are.
Yeah, and can you tell us, Ian, what kind of emotions went through you when you picked up that win with Standout on Sunday?
I was just excited. I was pretty excited. He's. I thought he'd go we thought he'd go really good. But it's sort of wet track. I hadn't been on a wet track before, and so you sort of don't know. But I'm pretty happy with him, really. Yeah, so
yeah.
Pretty excited.
Yeah, and have you got any long-term circuits or races that you're targeting with him, or are you just taking it week by week?
Just taking it week by week. Yeah, I think might put him on a junior drivers race at Oamaru next week. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a mobile, but he's a good beginner from the stand, but put him on a mobile, so hopefully he'll go right.
And it'll be a bit less travel for you to go to your home track, even though it's so far away.
Yeah, it's only an hour away, yeah, so it's pretty good. So.
Okay, so talking about where you're based, for those that aren't aware, Oamaru, of course, up the Waitaki Valley past Kurau and right at the base pretty much of Benmore Dam, aren't you?
Yes, they built the Benmore Dam on our property.
Oh wow!
So that was a long time ago, but yeah. So we've got a good all-weather track. We've got a 1,000-metre all-weather track, and they don't go off the place unless they're going all right, So.
Mhm. Yep.
So and you've got to travel a fair way, so you've got to be ticking along pretty good to go anywhere.
Yeah, yeah. And Ian, where did the interest in harness racing begin? Had it been a family involvement up there?
Absolutely, yeah. My father, he trained horses years ago, and the great-grandfather, they had horses, so it's been going for God knows how long time anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just in the blood, really.
Yeah, and of course your family, the involvement with Rostreva Hanover, one of the most famous horses of its era, and the horse is actually buried there up at the farm, isn't he?
He is, yes he is, yeah, he is, and he was a good horse. He could have won a lot more too, but he broke down just at his peak, really. So that's just racing, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, it sure is, and it must be one of the most serene places to train horses. It's very, very quiet up there, especially in winter, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it quiet, and you don't get the cold winds like you do on the coast. They always got a nice coat on them, They sort of pretty good areas to train horses.
Yeah, definitely. And are you still involved in the breeding side of things as well, Ian? Because I know you and Cheryl were.
Much. We're still breeding one or two, but not too many now. Cheryl's got she's got a couple of brood mares, and we sort of haven't got any of the Ross River breed left.
Oh, right. Yep. Because that was around quite a lot, wasn't it, over the years?
It was, yeah. It was, yeah. But we just went down that good at the end, so you got to move on,
Yep. Well, you obviously still got a really keen eye for a good type with Standout, and the other horse you've got in work. Can you tell us a bit about that, or any horses that are coming up?
Yeah, we got Red Onyx. He's hasn't had. He's got a crip. We just found out we got him scoped the other day. He's been roaring a bit. The driver's been telling us he's got a problem with his throat. So we're going to try one or two different things on him and see if we can get him going right, because he's got quite a bit of ability too. And what long term? What's the goal, Ian? Are you just going to keep going as a hobby, or do you have any races in mind that one day you'd still like to get on the mantelpiece? Oh, yeah, you got to think big, don't you? It's pretty tough going nowadays, just when a maiden race these days is quite difficult, isn't it, really?
Yeah, but it does make the celebrations even more special, doesn't it, when you break that duck?
Absolutely, yeah. So over the years, we've like a lot of horses, we've got them up ready to race and then just sent them up to Patrick or Riley, so we probably could have won a lot more if we kept them here, but we're so far away, it's just a bit of a...
Oh yeah.
Travelling's a bit of a...
Yeah.
It's a pain, really.
Yeah, well, it's completely understandable, but I guess, as you say, you can really put that foundation work into them, and having the great facility at home, it makes it easier. But through the O'Reillys and the likes of, the Knights and various people you've been involved in, you must have built up some amazing friendships over the years.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Everybody in the racing game get on pretty well, don't they? So,
yeah, and some big trips up to
celebrate
Auckland.
Your wins, and because... And you celebrate when you don't go any good too, because you get more of them.
Yeah, any excuse to celebrate anyway, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, Ian, congratulations. It was wonderful to see you pick up successful. You and Cheryl will stand out, and we'll keep a keen eye on the horse heading to your home track meeting, even though it's an hour away this Sunday.
It is. Thanks very much, Jess.
Airpark Canterbury is Christchurch's only 24/7 privately owned off-site airport car parking. If you feel strongly about supporting privately owned business, support Airpark Canterbury. It's only a short drive to the airport in the Airpark Canterbury free shuttle. So if you want the cheapest parking option around, try Airpark Canterbury. Call 0800 Airpark or online at airparkcanterbury.co.nz.
There's always a park for me at Airpark Canterbury.
Well, as we've been talking about for the last few weeks on the show, we've all been building up to Hannon Memorial Day at Oamaru for the next lead up to the Cup race. And joining me from the Oamaru Harness Racing Club is David Heffernan, President. David, thank you for your time. I understand you've just finished with the nominations, or collating them for this weekend's meeting. How did the Hannon field stack up?
Yeah, hi Jess. 132 nominations so far for the whole meeting, and the Hannons obviously attracted 11 horses at this stage.
Mm-hmm. And as mentioned, over the past few weeks, we've had indications from the connections of You May Collect and also the All-Stars team that they'd be nominating. So it looks as though you're going to have a fantastic clash for this very prestigious race.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got, obviously the 3 Purdon horses coming, or the All-Star horses, so Ultimate Sniper. We've got Chase Auckland and also Spankin coming there. And you're right, with You May Collect coming out of the Deep South, along with 3 other horses also coming from the South. So it is setting up for a pretty good Southern take-on Canterbury affair.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, the rest of the race card, I'd imagine, with that calibre of horse coming, you'd have a lot of top stables bringing their team along too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like even in the main trot, there's some good names featuring there with Enhine sort of topping the list there. So that's certainly those main stables are bringing horses for the supporting race card.
Oh, that's great to hear. And of course, the weather is meant to be really, really good for Sunday as well. So I guess in terms of hype and build-up, there is going to be a lot of talk over the next few days about this race. So you'd anticipate, or at least encourage people that are within driving distance to come and enjoy the day there with the club.
Yeah, well, it was always recognised as a lead-up race for the New Zealand Cup. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it used to race on the Labour weekend Monday, and we're pushed back a month from that now, just for a variety of reasons. But it's still attracting a near enough field with horses that are possibly just stepping out for the first time to start building their race fitness towards the Cup. Mm. And obviously the Hannon Memorial is a time-honoured race. We're in our 81st year of running it on Sunday. So it's been on most people that are involved in harness racing know of the Hannon Memorial. So it is our flagship race and race meeting for the Greater North Otago. So we certainly encourage local people to come along and watch this calibre of horse and race.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, as you say, it's a time-honoured event. I can remember going back and seeing great horses like Blossom Lady winning the Hannon back in the day, and it still stands up with the prestige around it. But just the publicity that we're going to see with the You May Collect bandwagon and people talking about that, I think there's a different vibe this year as we're building up to the Cup with, horses coming from out of the woodwork that we may not have known about necessarily a year ago. As you mentioned, a lot of very, very nice southern horses coming up, including Franco Santino too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like Nate's got Franco Santino humming, and even by that win last week at Winton, he's certainly on track. And these Southland boys, they don't want to give Canterbury too many bragging rights, so they're not coming up here just to pick cabbages. They're certainly going to give this a serious crack and make sure they're on the right foot heading forward for the New Zealand Cup in November.
Absolutely. So you heard it there from Dave. Of course, the club will be more than happy to have you there on the day. Maybe pack up a picnic. The weather is meant to be perfect, and there's plenty of room there too to spread out with the kids and bring along a picnic as well, isn't there, Dave?
Oh no, absolutely. Like we've got obviously the bouncy castle there on course to entertain the kids. There's a really nice cafe there on course. And we're also, obviously, we have not that I want to promote this, a losing ticket draw, because I like to think everyone that bets on a horse is a winner. But there's some good prizes there to be in the barrel if your ticket gets pulled out of a losing ticket draw. And obviously, I must mention this, Jess, we're very privileged to have Graham Harris from Airpark Canterbury on board as our sponsor for our Hannon.
Great.
And this is year 2 of his sponsorship, so he's a terrific sponsor and a pretty bubbly personality of a guy. So, hopefully he's on course as well to present the Hannon Memorial Trophy.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, of course, Graham's a sponsor of this podcast as well, and he's a great contributor to harness racing right around the country. So we wish him all the best there heading down to Oamaru. Dave, thank you so much for your time. As I say, I know you've been very busy with nominations, and they've just recently come out. So all the best for a successful meeting on Sunday. I'm sure you're going to get a great turnout of people just looking for this great battle between some awesome horses.
Right, I know. Cheers for that, Jess, and cheers for the time slot.
Hi, Razor here from Canterbury Rugby. When you need airport parking, choose a team that's on the ball. Meet at Airpark Canterbury and get their free Mercedes shuttle to drop you right off at the terminal. Airpark Canterbury have the cheapest 24/7 airport parking, and you'll never get left on the sidelines. Give Airpark Canterbury a try. airparkcanterbury.co.nz.
There's always a park for me at Airpark Canterbury.
Well, we've got Richard Wilson here. Of course, as usual, we go through the highs and lows from the bookmakers' world. And Richard, thanks again for your time. How did things go for you and the team last week?
Yeah, well, when you put it that way, Jess, there was quite a few lows.
Oh, dear.
Punters, quite a few short-priced winners and not many losers, and multi-punters were certainly cashing in on those. So a good run for punters this week. Kicked off on Friday with a flying start there, Aqua Santa, winning the first there, $1.40. The All-Stars had a one run down the track last week, but they're back to their winning ways this week. Kicked off a whole heap of multis there. Then Ghostwriter, this one opened at 12, closed 7.50, race 2, so that was a terrible result for us there. Biggest bets, 200 at 12, 200 at 8, $250 each way at 7.50, but there was a whole stack of other bets on it. There was actually almost $4,000 on her in the win book.
Wow.
So very bad result there. Oscar Bonavina was the next one. Did as expected, race 3, $1.15. Not too many takers at that, but there was again a whole stack of multis. Got that one in there. There was $4,000 on Lone Star Lad to run top 3 against Oscar, and of course he charged home, got second, $1.75 for that one, so that did us no favours. And then Taxman kept the All-Star roll going, race 4 at $1.25. Then Sunday Sun cruised home again, race 5. He was $1.45 into $1.30. 3,000 at 145, the best bet on him. And then all of a sudden from there we finally got some luck. Cruiser was heavily backed in race 6, $1,600 at 370, 1,000 at 340, the largest on him, and he was nosed out on the line, so that was good for us. And then Spankham, clearly the best backed late in race 7, $1,500 at 220, 1,400 and $1,000 bet at $2. There was a $1,000 bet on Chase Auckland that was very good there at 5.50, and also on Classy Brigade at 11. So good betting in the feature. And we didn't learn our lesson well enough with Cardinal Sin race 9, Jess. $3.50 into 220 this week, and made it 2 from 2. $1,000 bets at 290 and 270, 1,800 at 270, and then a $3,000 bet at 260. Strangely, also some money there for Louis Litt, $5,700 bet at the 240. So it wasn't quite as terrible as last week, but a loss for us nonetheless.
Yeah, a mixed bag it looks as though as well. And of course on Friday night as well we had Auckland and multi-punters going to play there.
Yes, indeed. They were multing up all the favourites at both meetings, and just having a ball of a time there, I think, Jess. $2,000 on Solid Gold at 250, the best bet. Other good collects came from $3,000 on Some Do at 185, a couple of $1,200 bets on Mighty Louie at 155. There was $1,000 on Sunny Glennis at 190, and a $850 bet at 180. And punters were into Warlock in the last two, $300 at 550, $400 and $500 bets at the 5. And not too many big bets going our way. Prince of Pleasure, the one that had a lot of strong support, 1,000 at 250, 2,000 at 210, 1,300 at $1.95. The largest bets on that one.
Okay, and of course it was a week of changing fortunes with the last minute change to the all-weather surface, which was unfortunate for Meathfin, but at least that meeting still got off the ground.
That's the thing, Jess. Yeah, there was a big flurry of activity in the office Saturday morning when a call came through to switch from the grass to the all-weather. It was a great outcome to hold the meeting rather than have it abandoned, and a few prices needed to be adjusted before we opened and things like that, but we got there in the end. What we didn't do was adjust Some Kind of Wonderful enough. Opened $1.55 on debut. That nowhere near short enough there, Jess. Subject of a plunge late Saturday night. $8,000 at 150, $9,750 on at 140, $13,300 at 130, and even $4,000 at 125. So chased all the way in there. A whole stack of bets, multis. They just loved that one kicking off their multis. Other big go on the program was Renesmee, $4,000 at 195, $4,400 at 185, and $1,000 bets at both 170 and 160. So no worries for either of those two horses. Bolted in really, put us on the back foot. Unico Enchantress, the other one that was well supported in the last race, $1,000 and $600 and a couple of $500 bets, all at the 330. And I was struggling to find a large miss, really. $2,000 and a couple of $1,000 bets on Friend in the last against the stablemate. That was at 310. $1,000 on Dr. Tim at 180 to run the top 3. And there was plenty of $100, $200 bets on Take After Me. His price tumbled from $21 into $7.50.
Wow. And
there was also $500 top 3 bets on him at 4 and 3. So very well back there. Take After Me had no luck trying to get the lead, and maybe one just to follow next week. And there was also 1,000 on Outer Endeavour at 185.
Okay, so we're still going to wait to officially launch the grass track season, but as we say, well done to everyone that got on behind that and got that meeting moved and still off the ground. Of course, every week, Richard, you find a multi of the week for us. Which way did you go?
Yeah, we've just reintroduced head-to-heads. You may have noticed, Jess, on Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Each meeting on a Friday night will have head-to-heads every race. And this punter certainly noticed. $100 six-leg multi, all head-to-head. Prince George at Auckland, $195. Chicken, also at Auckland, $190. Express Delight at Auckland, $155. Warlock at 2. Sometime at Addington, $185. And Give Me What I Need, also at Addington, $155. And that return there for the $100, $3,293.46.
Beautiful. Loving that punters work. So head-to-heads, check them out, tab.co.nz, and you could potentially be doing a similar thing. And worst cash-out option of the week?
A four-leg multi at Addington, Agua Cincta at $140, Taxman $125, Habibi Inter to run top 3 $2.15, and Cardinal Sin there at $2.80, a good price. Would have returned $2,001. They all came in, of course. Habibi Inter just nabbing third, but was cashed out for some reason before the first leg. So basically, they took the $180 with the price changes and cashed out. But if they'd stuck with the ship, $2,000 gone missing. And the other one I found there, a $2,000 bet, was probably one of the first bets on some kind of wonderful. 2,000 at 155. Would have returned $3,100, but was cashed out early on for $1,900.
Okay, so people losing their nerves there, but I guess that's the risk when you take the cash out option. And of course, as we mentioned last week, Richard, you and the team have been very, very busy opening the future markets. So all Group 1s in New Zealand for the remainder of 2019 are now out, which is great. But how are those markets looking in terms of activity?
Yeah, I had a look through a few moves after the weekend racing. Lineup, he was $12 before Friday night, into 8 after his win. There was a $250 bet at the 12 before he went on Friday night. Chase Auckland, another mover, 15 into 9 for the New Zealand Cup. There was a $200 bet at the 15 before his win on Friday night. The Dominion now looks like a two-horse war for sure. Sunday Sun, 270 into 230, and Oscar Bonavina, 350 into 270. Just about all the others have drifted. Mombay, the most notable one, 11 out to 21.
Okay, and of course a busy week ahead, and I bet you can't wait for Sunday at Oamaru as well.
Yeah, well, we've got about 17 minutes before the nominations close, and soon after that we'll find out who's in. There's Addington on Thursday before that, Auckland on Friday, Invercargill Saturday, and the Hannon at Oamaru on Sunday. And if you had a bet in the futures, keep an eye on those nominations. If your horse is not nominated, you'll get your money back.
Perfect. Hey, loving that work too, and there's an article on the HRNZ website around the pre-nomination options too for the futures, for the options for those feature races, I should say. Richard Wilson, thank you as always. Appreciate your time, and good luck for this week. Hopefully, not too many bombs coming your way.
Exactly. Yes. I'm due some luck.
Thanks, Richard. And coming up harness racing wise this week, Thursday night we have Addington this week in Christchurch. Friday we head to Alexandra Park in Auckland. On Saturday we've got Ascot Park in Invercargill, and of course that does include Owners Day. So if you're an owner, regardless of whether you've got a horse in at that meeting or not, come along, it's free entry. You're also welcome to come along if you're interested in ownership and finding out more about that, or bring your friends along too if you want them to find out how they can become an owner. As mentioned, free to get in. You'll get a free beverage when you walk in the door. There's finger food, prizes, and a number of expo tables as well. So we thank the Invercargill Harness Racing Club for working on that along with HRNZ, and look forward to seeing you there. And of course on Sunday we've got Hannon Memorial Day at Oamaru. Can't wait for that next lead up to the New Zealand Trotting Cup. And that's it for this week's Harness Half Hour. Thanks to Airpark Canterbury and HRNZ Marketing. Don't forget the podcast is available on the HRNZ website, the HRNZ Facebook page, on the Punters Lounge on tab.co.nz. Also, if you're on Spotify or iTunes, you can find us there as well.